a playlist original.
Hey, what's up? It's your host, Torry, and who is ready to be Betty? Welcome back to another episode of RTBP. I am so glad you're here. Today we have a super fun, super special episode of RTBP and a bonus one at that. Nick is back and we are talking all about Folklore, Taylor Swift's 8th studio album. Spoiler alert, my favorite one of hers. And it was so much fun to catch up. We talk about the origin of this episode in the beginning, so I won't get into it too much, but if you haven't, this is a look back at our first reactions. We released an episode August 4th, 2020, and Folklore had come out, I believe, July 24th, 2020, so it was our first week and a half hot takes, and we had many, but I didn't love how I thought of the album, so we wanted to do a little bit of a 2-year look back. So if you want, you can pause this episode, you can go back to the episode I'm talking about. I will put that link in the episode show notes, and then you can come back to this one. We do make some callback jokes from that episode, so I think you will enjoy it more, but it's not necessary listening if you just want some Taylor and Joe gossip and some, love of the Folklore lyrics and musicality per se. But we do make some jokes too, like cheese, which sounds so fucking random, but I promise there was a point where we were talking about that in the original episode. So those type of things come up. Anyways, I want to also say that as is all of my episodes with Nick, it is a roller coaster. So as he says in the episode, buckle up. There's turbulence ahead. If you are not super into that, we do jump around a little bit. Just, take this episode with an open mind. It's super fun. And there are nuggets of wisdom and brilliance in our goofy ramblings. I also do go on a Kaylor conspiracy tangent for this basically entire podcast. If you don't know what the portmanteau Kaylor is, it's the mashup of the names Karlie and Taylor, and their conspiracy that they dated in the early 2010s. So if you're not super into conspiracy theories and blind items, and you take celeb gossip and pop culture at face value, that's totally okay. That was me until I learned about Beyond the Blinds, etc. So that's totally okay. You can take everything I say, because it is alleged, with a grain of salt, and it's just, fun conversations to have. Or you could be a big Kaylor head like me. I will put some resources. I feel like I'm at work and I'm resourcing a student for student success. You're my pupils. I will put some resources in the episode show notes of timelines and articles and fun Kaylor things. So if you want to get up to date before we launch into the Folklore discussion, you can do that as well. I also want to say, because I know that Taylor Swift lyric analysis goes really in depth and Swiftie culture is strong, and I do love that, this is not the most detailed end-all be-all Folklore analysis, etc. We do talk a lot about Easter eggs. We talk about the context. We talk about this album amongst other Taylor albums. But again, it's not the end all be all. It's just two friends having fun. I do really suggest, if you want a really detailed podcast about Taylor's music, The Ringer did a series called I'm going to get this wrong. I think it's called Every Album Ever. I will also link that in the episode show notes. But they did a lot of really, really detailed album analysis, song analysis of all of Taylor's work. And they go on to do One Direction, all the 1D Boys solo stuff, and Adele as well. So I highly recommend that. It is with a writer from The Ringer and I think, former CEO of Ticketmaster. So he also gives some really cool insider information about like her tours and stuff like that. Anyways, I think I should leave it at that. We're counting down the minutes and it's already a long episode. Nick introduces himself in this episode. So honestly, let's just leave it at that. Take it away, Nick.
Hi, it's Torry from Ready to Be Petty, and today I have a fantastic guest for you today. He's been on the podcast, I think, 9 times now, and it hasn't even been 2 full years. But today we're taking it back to the beginning, his first podcast.
Oh my god, hashtag back to the beach.
And we're talking about folklore.
Yay. Oh my god, okay, that was like killer. Will I leave this in? Only time will tell. Nick, welcome back to the podcast.
Yes, I've returned. I flew across, took a picture with Torry on Torry's bed.
Oh my god, yes, that's gonna be the pic reveal.
And now I've flown back, and now we're ready to actually podcast.
Yes, okay, so this is so exciting because, as Nick mentioned, he has been on this podcast numerous times. But our first episode together, we talked about Folklore when it came out in July. I think it was like July 24th, 2020.
It was late July. I'm surprised it was even the 24th. I would have guessed like closer to like
it might be the 27th, and this episode comes out the 24th. Yeah. I wanted to do it like on its birthday, but it was a Sunday, so I couldn't. Little insider baseball. But how did this re-listen, re-record happen? Because I was saying how much I hated everything I said on that podcast.
I think we wanted to do a reflection now that there's been like, post-folklore Taylor, where it seems like, folklore at the time we thought was more of an isolated album during quarantine, and it almost seemed to have been like the launch of a new era that we hadn't really known at the time. And Torry realized she had some bad takes and wanted to come reestablish those as folklore seemed to gain traction in whatever online community Torry has been stalking.
Yeah, okay.
The TikTok comments.
Yes, okay, so Nick is in for a wild fucking ride because I'm going to take him through some Kaylor conspiracy stuff, and I can't wait. But I don't want to spoil the juicy bits. I have listened to this album. I think it is my favorite Taylor Swift album. I have listened to it almost always fully through, but we'll get to that too. For 2 years. Like, I would say I listened to the entire album once per week.
Well, I was going to say, at the time that you listened to it, you were like, this is not the album that I wanted.
No.
Like, I wanted, like, Smash Summer happy pop.
Yes.
And then the winter rolled around and Torry said, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. I'm so deeply depressed. And this is actually the perfect thing to listen to.
And has been the case for a year and a half since.
Literally. We joked on the pod that we would be eating cheese in a dark room and doing wellness checks on each other if we ever listen to this album again. And I feel like that's happened so often in the last 2 years.
And I've performed nearly 0 wellness checks on Torry.
No, stop. Literally, I'm like, I'm on a folklore walk. You're like, everything good? I'm like,
You've got to do folklore in nature. I really set the scene today because I woke up today and I said, okay, we're recording folklore today. I need to get outside. I need to get in nature, which was like the powder keg for me going on a hike today. I was like, I've got to get in the mindset. And then I was sitting on the beach, and I'm like, okay, in nature, the waves are rolling in, and I re-listened to our podcast 2 years ago to reflect on my thoughts. And then a thunderstorm rolled in because the weather was really working with me today, and that's when I listened to the album. So I feel like, the folklore walk is necessary. You're not going to, like, do folklore. I mean, you can do folklore in a quiet, dark room eating cheese. I mean, it hits. It hits the same.
Yeah, it truly does.
You know what we didn't talk about last time? We didn't talk about the album art for this.
No.
Like, sometimes I like what was going through Taylor's head when she took that picture, but it kind of nails like what you need. You need to be like a Rome in the woods and like sepia tone.
Truly, or like this life in black and gray, which again, signaling my
That's what it is.
depression. Yeah, depression. But like, okay.
But don't forget, Folklore is a summer album.
Yeah, okay, I still don't believe that. I'm like, okay, Taylor, you're just trying to like shoehorn summer into like, I guess, okay, yeah, like fucking August and Betty and shit like that, summer romance when you're a teen. Like, okay, the summer I turned pretty.
The lyrics might be summer, the vibes are not.
Are not. And like, I guess I was thriving when this album came out, which is like hard to believe. And I was like, yeah, I need like fun pop music. At the time, we were also talking about how Loverfest just got canceled, but
I'm still so salty. I had those tickets. I had them. They were in my grasp. And then fucking smash. And I don't even know if she's going to do another one. Like,
yeah, so we didn't really talk about the cover art and stuff like that. Or, yeah, like the stylized lowercase letters and stuff like that. But it definitely evokes.
Oh, that doesn't impress me. I hate when artists think they're, like, cool and they're like, we're going to do all lowercase. Or we're going to do all uppercase. Like, why? Like, there's so little you can do with text. Like, just stop trying.
Literally, yeah. It's like, it's been
I
done
don't care
before.
what it symbolizes. I don't.
Truly. Yeah, I definitely think that there's like some content online specifically about this photo shoot that she used for the cover. And I think like, again, the other piece, like you mentioned, that we didn't have when we recorded this is that Evermore is like a sister album. And you can see the parallels within the lyrics, the vibe, the aesthetic, like all of that stuff.
Well, do we think that she took that photo for the album cover when she filmed the Long Pond session?
Yeah, she's
Like,
wearing
do we
that
think
like
that
heavy
was taken
brown
in
coat.
like
Yeah.
New York? I left a part of me back in New York.
Some people, if we want to start on like my crazy train, some people say that it's like a similar forest vibe that Karlie Kloss got married to Jared Kushner in. And so that's what it's evoking.
I don't know those people.
Oh my god,
I'm familiar
okay,
with their
okay.
work.
Oh my god.
They could walk by me on the side of the road and I wouldn't know a thing.
You wouldn't. Sorry to this man. Sorry to this Karlie Kloss. Okay, let's save that for when we actually dive into the lyrics. We're already on a tangential thing.
Let's keep that motherfucker rolling.
Nick, what were your takeaways from re-listening to our original episode?
So I actually had a lot of takeaways listening to our initial episode. So one is that Torry didn't like Cardigan, and I fought back against that, saying it had a fire bridge, and that still holds up.
Yeah.
and Cardigan is definitely, I mean, I think it's probably inherently one of the most played songs for me off the album, only because it was a single, and it was kind of like indoctrinated in it. But I love that song. Like I like how it starts, because it almost sounds like the way she's pacing her vocals, it sounds like I can visualize somebody like high heels on cobblestone. Like the way the song starts, I'm like transported into that world where it's like dark at night. And I just love like that being the kickoff to the three like love triangle songs.
I think that I felt it while it was released in addition to the merch, the Cardigan merch, it seemed merch grabby at the time. But yeah, Cardigan has aged well, and you're right. The motifs of like cobblestones and setting the stage for the triangle romance makes sense. So okay, you were right.
So that was one of my like album takeaways. One of my takeaways from us recording the podcast is like we must have been really fucking hungry when we were recording, because we talked about bruschetta, we talked about cheese, we talked about cheese whiz, like cheese balls. Like we must have been like fiending for some snack food that late at night.
I love that for us.
And then I think like overall something that was a takeaway of like when I was listening to the album is we talked a lot of it. Almost, I think, like, it being, like, adult Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, a step in that direction. And what I thought earlier when I was, like, re-listening to our podcast and subsequently the album is where her career has went with Folklore and Evermore, and almost how she's like branded herself as like being just more mature. I think that Folklore really kicked off kind of like the change in how the general public thinks of Taylor Swift. That she's now more of like an adult artist that is to be taken seriously, like in all realms, similar to how like Lady Gaga is now taken more seriously by like older adults, for doing like her work with Tony Bennett and then like putting out other albums and like acting and all that. Whereas at the beginning of her career, she wasn't taken seriously because like the meat dress stuff. And I think that this kind of kicks off the spin for Taylor, where she really has stepped away from all of the like Kim Kardashian, Kanye West related drama that people have been like, oh yeah, that was like a time bomb waiting to happen. Taylor was definitely right. Again, so that's kind of my takeaway of like in the 2 years of since Folklore, how Taylor Swift has like reestablished herself to the general public.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. It sucks that young women, have to collaborate with men / like older men and more like men whose music is taken more seriously to kind of get that credit, because I think that is kind of what happened. Like, people don't take pop music seriously as like art. I don't think people super took Taylor Swift seriously because of the content and the genre of her work too.
I agree with that, but I would say I don't think the pop music part of pop music is that it shouldn't be taken seriously, that it should be loud, it should be boisterous. And if you're creating like high quality pop music, it should be all of those things. But I think it gets like a knack on it because people are like, oh, like pop music, that's the type of things like middle schoolers listen to. And this is kind of what we had talked about the last time on the podcast, and I was bringing it back, is like Taylor Swift wasn't taken seriously because it was like, oh, she is like a musician for like young women, not she is a musician who creates high quality music that people enjoy listening to, even if they're not like stans online. And I think through this album especially, but the lyrics on this and Evermore have really kind of showed that like, no, this is a lyricist.
Yeah.
But I also agree, say maybe a lot of those factors come from like, okay, she had a collaboration with Bon Iver, who, you know, people are like, oh, they're very good. I didn't really know anything about Aaron Dressner prior to this album, and I don't really know much about him since this album. But I mean, the big pivot kind of in her stylistic choice through working with him and not Jack Antonoff.
Oh, Jack.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah, totally agree. And like, also I think why I think that is because re-listening to the Red re-recordings, things like All Too Well have this, I would say, the same quality and difficulty and creativity as a lot of songs on Folklore, but like it was never considered like a lyrical masterpiece like this.
Yeah, I think at the time that people were like, you're writing songs about your relationships and breakup, and we've done that for 3 albums, and now we're doing it again. And for her to, because Red is that one that bridges kind of country and pop, people are like, this isn't real country, when she was branding it as country. And then there were songs like We're Never Getting Back Together, which is kind of like, you know, it's a fun song, but definitely skews towards more like high school, middle school flavor, if you will.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people took All Too Well seriously because a lot of people just didn't know about it. But yet, you had said at the beginning of this podcast, you think Folklore is your favorite album. I still think Red is... I don't know if like Red is my favorite album. I think my Red is my favorite album, but I don't think it's actually a true country album.
True. Yep. Yeah.
So I think like at the time when she released it, like I think her re-release is more pop than it is country. And I like it more as a pop album than I do as a country album.
Yeah, I think that Folklore, Lover, and Reputation are my favorite albums. But like, again, it's like pulling hairs of what's my favorite. I also want to say that I'm pretty sure on both podcasts we talked about Aaron Dressner as Aaron Dressner, and it's definitely Desner. And I re-listened to our podcast too, and I'm pretty sure we called him Dressner like 4,000 times.
Wait, what is Desner?
Yeah.
Like D-E-Z-N-E-R.
Dessner.
Well, in pronunciation.
Yes. So I was like,
L.
LOL. Like, we watched the Long Ponds sessions. Like, we've heard him talk.
Session,
Singular session, etc. And it's like, I'm pretty sure it's Desner, and every single time you and I have had said Dressner. So, cool.
Sorry, Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron. We know you're listening. So at the time you said your least favorite song was Epiphany, but you said it would age well, and then your other least favorite song was Seven. Do you still feel that way?
So I was thinking about this again today, more in regards to Seven. So I was listening to Seven today, and I still can't connect with that song. Mm-hmm. But I realized today my issue with the song is really the first half of it, not the second half. Because, like, once I'm, like, you know, Stockholm Syndrome into the song, I'm like, okay, I can get along with the second half of these lyrics. Of course. I like the lyric, and I said this last time, that sounds like Cool for the Summer by Demi Lovato, which, when Demi is like, we're cool for the summer, and Taylor is like, she says something about, like, sweet tea in the summer. Cross my heart, won't tell no other. Like, at that point, I'm like, okay, the bass has dropped, and we're getting down in these trees.
I'm literally fucking dead. Sweet tea in the summer, cross your heart, won't tell no other. Oh my god, we're
cool for the summer.
Dead. Please, someone make a mashup of that.
But the first half of that song, like, not it. You know what it sounds like? And you're not going to know because I'm sure you haven't watched this movie. It sounds like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Secrets. Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire, and no, I have not.
Oh, when Harry takes the, like, golden egg under the water to listen to the mermaid sing, like, that's what the first, like, minute of this song sounds like to me. It sounds like the we are. She sounds like she's singing underwater. I don't like the stylistic choices of Seven, but I've come along by saying, like, there's some redeemable qualities of that song.
Yeah, I like it.
When I said that Epiphany would age well, I meant, like, cheese. I didn't mean to bring cheese up again. But, like, when it's been, like, a 50-year aged block of cheddar or however long cheese ages, like, it's still not good. Yeah. And I skipped it on my re-listen again because I just can't do it. It's like 4 minutes long too. It's like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I don't like this song. I was naturally on a time crunch.
Yes,
so
naturally.
It's like I just don't have the time to put into where our father, someone, doctor.
Okay, I agree with you. I fucking hate Epiphany. A hot take, if I were to cut one song, would be this. I fucking hate this one. Like, I don't need the war symbolism and, like, imagery. I just don't connect with it.
I think it's more of, like, a historical piece of, like, this is the COVID song.
Right.
And I have no interest in that as somebody who has lived through COVID.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Right?
You're like, July 2020, we weren't doing so bad. Like, fuck.
Yeah, that's like a 2120 song.
Yeah.
Like, they can enjoy that. They can, I don't know, do what the fuck they want
Put
with
it
it.
in the textbooks.
I want no part of it.
Yeah, but leave it there.
That's when they're like music and history, and they bring up Epiphany as like a historical music piece. Like, that's what Epiphany is. It is of no use to me in my life. And it doesn't serve a purpose on the album. Like, it's in the back half of the album.
Yes.
I think they put it between Mad Woman and Betty.
Yeah. Mistake.
I think they may have put it between, like, it brackets Betty in some way or another, and there is no fucking way that I should be going from Epiphany to Betty. Like, you're arguably going from, like, the lowest trench to, like, the highest peak.
Yes, it's Mad Woman, Epiphany, Betty.
Yeah. There's no need. Mad Woman is, like, a good, like, slow down song, like, after illicit affairs. Like, I don't need, like, another, like, depressy hour.
Yeah, 100. Mine was Peace. This did not age well.
And I said,
and you said that at the time.
When I listened to it, I should have started a war with Torry over not liking
You should have
Peace.
started the war in Epiphany.
Yeah, you're right. Well, maybe in 50 years.
Yeah.
Someone's here to help you. It sounds like the Who's singing Da Who Dore to like a depressing song.
It's so bad.
Okay, so your thoughts on Peace have changed. What's the updated take?
I think I couldn't enjoy it because it was too real in my life and I was trying to ignore it.
Mic drop.
Yeah, and like I
believe-
don't want to like get into that per se. I just think that it's a very natural feeling for anyone, and like obviously this is through Taylor Swift's lens, but like for people to wonder if they can, you know, have a partner that they can have a like fulfilling relationship with if they come with the baggage. And at the time I think I was just feeling very much like a person with baggage, and I was like I can't even listen to this a second time. So yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, wasn't there also that lyric where she's like, I sit around and talk shit with my friends and you
I'm
like
wasting
paint
your
like
honor.
murals
Yeah.
yeah, right? And I think that you had an issue with that lyric because you were like, now that's bullshit. Like
Yeah, I think I was annoyed with that because again, it's like, yeah, okay, so like again, not to take this like super analytical because it's a fucking toss away lyric, but like I think it just annoys me when again, like Joe Alwyn is the serious actor and she's the pop star that just like talks shit with the squad of girlies. Like, I don't know. And like again, maybe I'm reading into that way too much, but I hate when people use the thing that talking shit isn't, not that it's honorable, but like that's also how you like hold space for people. I don't know. I just like, I get annoyed with that. Maybe because it's the premise of this podcast is to talk shit, and I
bing, 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 bing,
yeah.
bing, bing.
Okay, Nick. Okay. But like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate that there's no, again, like validity in talking shit when sometimes it's superficial for sure, but like a lot of times it serves a purpose for people.
I think Peace is a great song. I like how it builds at the beginning. I think it's very airy. I think the lyrics are good. I think it's, you know, one of her more like mature songs. Like she's talking about like, you know, her kind of like second guessing herself and her ability to be in this relationship and like what she provides and what she wants out of it. Like, you know, I'm not going to give you all the other things that you could have, but I can give you me. And will that bring you peace?
And I really also just love the idea that that's what a relationship can bring you. Because again, if you think about COVID, chaotic times, and you're hoping for like a partner that can, provide stability and peace. So I thought it was just very topical.
And more than all of that, this is also the song that contains the lyric "Clowns to the West."
Yes.
And it capitalizes the W. So like, let's just like, as we walk away from the drama, let's just flip off Kanye West one more time.
100%. Yeah, iconic. Okay, our fave song was Both the One. Is that still okay? Well, don't tell me. I guess we're gonna talk about what our favorite and least favorite is nowadays at the end of the podcast. So stay tuned. But do you think that song holds up?
I think yes. I think that it is the perfect song to start off the album.
Yeah.
Forget even the nonsense of like the one with like the number one instead of spelling it out to be like, you know, I don't even know what the fuck the point of that is.
We'll
like
discuss.
stylistic.
Yes.
But yeah, I love that it starts with like, I'm on some new shit. Like, I feel like it's just like, it does very much ease you into the album that's to come, and I think it sets it up really well. I love that song still.
Me too. Yeah, I think it's really good. It's hard to listen to for me because again, like it's kind of upbeat, but the song lyrics are actually really sad, and like sometimes I just like I actually have to like skip it because it like will actually make me depresso. But like I don't know, it's a balance, but I think that it's probably still my favorite song. Well, oh my gosh, spoiler alert.
Oh my god, the expose.
Oh my god, I'm just so excited about the one. Okay, well, okay, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think that really our thoughts have changed. Not necessarily on it being our favorite song or not, because I'll keep my shit a secret. But I think that all of our takes then hold up still today.
Wild. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it kind of sets up some, like, little hints of what's later to come in the album in terms of some of the lyrics she used to set up, like, other things that she talks about.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, to me, like, they're like throwing roaring 20s, tossing pennies in the pool or something, to me sets up the Last Great American Dynasty. In Last Great American Dynasty, she says something about, like, she's a mad woman, which obviously sets up kind of the message in Mad Woman. I love the little hints throughout all of this album, taking us to other places in the album.
Same. It's so fucking smart. Like, I just don't understand how she is this creative. It's something that I could never do, but I, like, just love. I'm in awe of it. Like, I love participating in it that way. I posted on my Instagram, does anyone have any comments about folklore? And most people just said how much they appreciate it. Taylor from That's the Tea podcast says, literally one of her best albums ever, changed my life. At Amanda Lynch __ says, Folklore and Evermore are best albums to date. At Karlie Fasano from the To Be Influenced podcast said, it's a masterpiece, no further questions.
I love that you really, like, nailed each of their handles. Like, the __, like, that is commitment to your craft.
Oh my God.
Did I ever tell you, this is a total side tangent, it will take like 30 seconds, audience, so just strap in. When, like, a decade ago, when my friends were, like, just first getting Twitter and stuff, I didn't have one at the time because, I don't know, I was like a loser who didn't have Twitter, and now I can't go, like, an hour without checking it. My friends were, like, trying to follow each other on Twitter, and they're like, well, what's your handle? And it was like name _ last name.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend straight up typed in like his first name, the word _
No.
and then his last name. She's like, you're not popping up, you're lying, what is it? And he's like, that's what it is. And she turned the phone around and she was like, it's not showing up, what is it? And it was like, you can't type out _ like, there's a key. So every time I hear _ that's what I think of.
UND. That's so funny. Nick UND. Could you imagine if you're like, yeah, everyone follow me, like, I'm Nick.
I'm Nick _ drink water on Twitter.
But it's
NICKUNDERSCOREDRINKWATER. Spelling bee, that is correct. And then they put me sit down.
That's so funny. Did you have any cringe emails or usernames when you were a younger child?
I'm trying to think about this. Like, no, I was not, like, a cringe email guy. I think my mom set my first email up, and it was, like, ndrink at, like, Comcast.
Oh, that's so funny. You weren't, like, soccer guy 99?
No. No, my embarrassing usernames were my Club Penguin.
Yeah, what was the spill?
And my, like, Webkins.
Yes. What were your usernames?
I honestly wish that I could remember. I know that my Webkins password was elephant, but the L in elephant was the number 1. Because I'm Taylor Swift. It's symbolic out here.
Oh my God.
I also, one of the only times I got grounded in my life was I found out my cousin's Webkins password and username, and I gave it to one of my other friends so we could play Webkins together.
And then your cousin got mad.
My cousin found out that somebody was using his Webkins. Told his mom, who told my mom, and then I got grounded.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
But I think that okay, so obviously my guy's little name was like, he was a fucking baby elephant. So I think my, like, Webkin name was like Peanut.
That's cute. That's cute.
And my Webkin, my Club Penguin name definitely had, like, football in it somewhere.
Football guy.
No,
101.
definitely. Maybe I was like football fisher, because I think, like, in Club Penguin you could play the fishing game, and you could, like, rig the game by leaving the fish on your Club Penguin line after you caught the last fish, and that big whomping fish would come and bite it, and you'd get, like, 50 extra, like, Club Penguin dollars, in which I could go buy a Puffle with.
Oh my God.
The dream. The best capitalism was Club Penguin capitalism.
Truly. Or Neopets. I'm still living in that economy.
I wish that I could just play games every day to win money.
I know.
Where's my Twitch stream?
Honestly, they have it so easy. I know it's not easy, but like, oh my God, like this could be us. Look at your little setup. Like,
my little setup. We've upgraded. I'm in the same room I was last time we recorded the Folklore podcast, but I'm now sitting on a couch opposed to a table, and instead of having a shitty audio, which maybe it's still shitty, but
No,
now
it's
I have a
good.
proper microphone and a headset.
I know you seem so like you're like a little professional.
Yeah, a little professional bumming off other people. I'm a professional at that.
Oh my God.
As told by the Webkin story.
Truly.
Anyway, back to topic.
Back to Kaylor.
All right, unstrap. The turbulence is gone. You can move about the cabin.
Okay, so we want to go through some of the lyrics that we found interesting that we didn't cover in the first. Because again, remember, we covered this literal days after the episode dropped. Now we have had 2 years.
The episode.
Oh my God, the album
There's
dropped.
this Kaylor's podcast.
I wish I got that many downloads. But we recorded it really soon. I think we had both maybe listened to the album twice through. Now we've listened to it 200 times through. So there are some specific things we want to talk about. I want to preface, I'm going to say this at the top of the show too. We are not going to go through every single Easter egg, lyric, song even. This is just like some general thoughts of things that stood out to us. There is so much more Taylor content. Some of my friends host Taylor podcasts, like Cam from What I Will Say, who I was just on her podcast talking about Harry Styles and Nick Grimshaw. Fluently Forward has some Karlie, Kloss, and Taylor Swift content. It's become a whole thing, has tons of Patreon episodes about it. So there's literally so much. The Reddit is just like bumping. So we're just going to go over some things that we found interesting.
Reddit is a bumpin'.
And like on it, it is. Honestly, it's because I'm like scared of Swifties. And it's like, if you don't know, like people are going to be like, how did you not know that the album came out on July 29th? Like you said the 24th. She just brings a certain type of stan that
we can't compete with.
We can't
That's
compete.
what it is.
Like we don't have.
We're not
TikToks.
scared of you. We wish we were you, but we just can't.
Yes, literally. I'm a little scared, but like in general, I'm impressed. And I love consuming your content, but that's just not this podcast. Okay, let's start with the one. Can I finally get into like my conspiracy things?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what the conspiracy is, it means you have short-term memory because she brought it up at the beginning of the show.
Like, please get checked out.
But on the outline of the podcast I was sent, there's this term Kaylor that I was unfamiliar with. Now I can read, so I can parse together what is to come from this, but I'm really ready just to sit back with my drink and let Torry tell his folklore story.
Yes, oh my gosh, which I'm
Right,
going to
kick it off.
reference in this episode. So basically, when I had recorded our bonus episode of Folklore, I had never heard of this potential relationship between Karlie, Kloss, and Taylor Swift. If you have never heard of this, please just like look up Reddit Kaylor, and you'll have like an afternoon of just fun. But basically, it is a conspiracy that Karlie Kloss and Taylor Swift dated, and a lot of the Folklore album like references their relationship. Is that like blowing your mind, or have you heard of that a little bit?
No, I don't know who Karlie Kloss is.
Oh my gosh.
So
okay.
I'm about to Google a picture of her.
Okay, so Karlie Kloss is a model. She, I think, is most well known for Victoria's Secret and the modeling in Victoria's Secret. And she was best friends with Taylor Swift. She was part of her squad. She is now married to Jared Kushner, who is...
No, okay, so you said that earlier. Isn't Jared Kushner like Ivanka Trump's
Fuck, oh my
guy?
God. She is married to Josh Kushner.
Okay, I was
Oh my
gonna say.
God.
So I say that
Swifties
as
are
I'm
coming
reading
for
her
me.
personal. I'm reading her personal page
On her wiki. Okay, whenever I go to wiki,
On her
it's just
wiki.
like directly to personal section. Like, like scrolls back down to personal section. Okay, you're right.
But yeah, you said Jared Kirshner earlier, and I was like, so I know him, but that can't be true.
No, that vehemently is false. She is married to Josh Kushner, who is Jared Kushner's brother, who is
Oh my God, what?
Yes, who is infamously married to Ivanka Trump. And there's been a lot of controversy because Karlie is pretty vocal about being a Democrat and being left-leaning, where obviously the Kushner family is very right-wing and Republican. So there's some like interesting tensions there.
No, it's bad when Josh Kirshner doesn't have a picture on his wiki. Says it all.
That truly says it all. So I think that I guess I did hear about their relationship back in the day because there's this infamous picture. I think they're at a 1975 concert and they're in the balconies and they're like, there's pictures of them like basically making out, but they're very grainy. So a lot of people, we call them Hitlers, who don't believe Taylor Swift is queer and dated Karlie Kloss.
Wait, you call those people Hitlers?
Yeah.
Why do they get a nickname? Are they a minority group of stans?
I think, I don't know if they're minority, but they like really, I don't know, are kind of denying some of the like iconography, lyrics, and, you know, like interview tidbits that Taylor's shared about like her sexuality.
Okay, so is this why it's coming to the pieces are fitting into place? Is this why people said that Seven was like a gay anthem like 2 years ago?
Well, I think.
And why Betty
Yes.
like is like a gay anthem?
Yes. So people thought that the triangle wasn't between like a hetero couple and a side piece. I don't know how to say that. Like, the side chick. Yes. So yes, there a lot of like lyric analysis went into Betty as like queer art.
Interesting. Okay. So more about this Karlie Kloss
Yes.
situation or the Kaylor conspiracy.
The Kaylor conspiracy. So it's really interesting because you can see little Easter eggs that could point to this relationship with Taylor Swift. It's very much the like, you know, the saying where it's like their best friends or roommates, but really they were lovers or whatever in history.
And they were roommates?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they were roommates? I'm familiar with that piece of history, let me tell you.
Okay. So Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss went on this infamous trip to Big Sur that was documented in Vogue. And they drove down Highway 1 and it was all photographed. So people are saying that the one is stylized that way to indicate highway number 1.
My head is exploding out of my ears.
Good. So Taylor Swift lived at the time that she dated Karlie Kloss, allegedly.
Allegedly,
in the West Village in New York. And there is a restaurant called The Bus Stop. So when she says, I thought I saw you at the bus stop, I didn't though, she's probably talking about Karlie Kloss because she also lived in the West Village and she would sneak through her garden gate to visit her in the summer, a la Cruel Summer.
I love the Swiftie stans. I'm a stan of them. Torry might be scared of me, but just send shit to my DMs. Like, this is rich.
Isn't this rich? Okay, Nick, I feel like I just opened up. Like, I cannot.
This tea is good.
Okay, I have so much more. I'm gonna get you on Cam's podcast. What I will say, you're gonna have so much fun dissecting all of this. There's pictures, there's Reddit threads, there's timelines. It's chef's kiss, so much fun. And this is what I've been doing for the past
My jaw
2 years
is like
on the floor.
It is.
So let me walk you through
Because now I'm thinking like, okay, so yeah, slip through the garden gate last summer just to seal your face.
Yes, okay, and like
you're the West Village.
Yes!
You didn't do it for me, baby.
Yes!
Or whatever.
Yes. Oh my God, all of this New York, because you know her New York era. That was when she
left a part of me back in New York.
Yes, yes, that's when she was dating dating Karlie Kloss allegedly. So there's all of this New York references
Welcome
is
to
great.
New York. When did they start? Like, how far is the lineage?
Okay, so I'm gonna look it
Oh,
up.
Torry is Googling.
So my understanding is they met at the Victoria's Secret fashion show when Karlie was walking in it and Taylor Swift was singing. Which I will say, you know, the lyrics like in Gold Rush about blonde curly hair and rose gold.
Sure.
Karlie and Taylor were wearing rose gold with their long curly hair down the runway.
Has either of them, like, come out as bi? Well, I know Taylor hasn't. Has Karlie? As I learned about her for the first time.
I don't think so. And Taylor, like, I think the consensus is, like, she talked when she released Me for Lover. There's that infamous quote that's like, the music video is going to be all things that make me, gay pride, blah, blah, blah. So people are assuming.
Okay, so this is, like, straddling the lines of, like, canon and fanfic.
Exactly. Because a straight person, if they came out with a song like, what's the song that she had all of the, like, queer...
You Need to Calm Down?
Yes, thank you. If a straight person released a song like You Need to Calm Down or Me, where there's, like, a pride parade and the rainbows and there's people popping out of closets, if a straight person used that image to sell records, like, that's so fucked up. So I'm assuming...
This is a spiral.
This is a full spiral. So apparently...
Right, okay, sorry, so back.
Yes. So the timeline for Karlie and Taylor, they started kind of chatting online in 2012. They officially met at Victoria's Secret fashion show in November 2013.
Okay, so I'm sure I'm late on the bus here. I'm adding to the conspiracy theory that her 1989 album that starts with Welcome to New York, that has the verse of, like, was it like boys like boys and girls like girls or something like that? Okay, I'm adding that to canon. I'm late, but I'm co-signing that.
I'm obsessed. Okay, I love this for us. So basically,
I love building off the work of others.
Yeah, truly. So I think that why I wanted to bring this up is just this is my biggest shift from when I first listened to folklore to when I'm listening to it now. I'm seeing these Easter eggs that might point to a relationship with Karlie, and throughout some of the other songs I've, like, included that. Okay,
so now what song did William Bowery not co-write? Because if William Bowery did not co-write any of the songs that talk about Karlie Kloss, I'm in.
Okay, so he co-wrote Betty, Exile.
Okay, well, she lied to him, and it was over the love triangle.
It was Betty, Exile.
She lied for him and gave him writing credits when he didn't deserve it.
Yes.
The second's more likely.
Which we are going to get to. It was Betty, Exile.
Right, Exile.
And he was credited as a producer on 6 songs, and he wrote those 2. Do you want the 6 songs that he was a...
No, he's irrelevant.
He's literally irrelevant. So back to the only other lyric that I just wanted to point out, like, roaring 20s, tossing pennies in the pool, like he said... I feel like, again, that just brings up kind of this time of Taylor's life where she was hosting parties at her main mansion. Karlie was there.
And Tom Hiddleston, who I used to think was Draco Malfoy.
Yes, who, like, again, yes, that was so funny. Again, like, that relationship is, like, 100p fake. So it's just, like, I just feel like she had a lot of relationships with guys that were clearly PR around the time that she was allegedly dating Karlie Kloss. At Hermit Power says, Kaylor conspiracy has me, and agreed, clearly me too. The next song on the album is Cardigan. The only thing I wrote was, like, there is the mention of the High Line in New York.
I love the High Line.
Me too.
So I teach, like, urban geography, and one of the examples of urban geography that I teach is the High Line specifically. But I've never actually went and walked the High Line. So this past, like, February, during my February vacation, I went to New York, and I spent, like, an entire day walking the High Line by myself, and it was super cool.
Were you listening to folklore?
I was probably listening to nothing and like experiencing the city like a loser.
Okay. Okay, mentally well. Like,
But yeah, no, I walked down. Then the highlight ends at Hudson Yards if you walk like north, which has that like giant like the thing that looks like a beehive.
yes.
I don't know. It has the vessel.
Yes, the vessel.
I don't like the word vessel, by the way. Side tangent there, but yeah, it was like super cool. I couldn't imagine like living on it. I mean, one, because all the stuff in New York costs a shit ton of money, but specifically in that area of New York. But two is like you could be creeping in people's windows.
Oh,
like
so
people can't be
easily.
getting up to anything
Yeah.
if you live on the floor level of the High Line. But the High Line was cool.
Truly.
Definitely recommend of New York. I feel like we did talk about Cardigan enough. Cardigan holds up. It's definitely like one of the top songs in the album. The bridge is really good. The mood is good. She knocked it out of the park. The merch is ugly.
yeah.
And we're moving on.
The Last Great American Dynasty. I like this song. I feel like for a song that doesn't have like emotional lyrics that I connect to, I play it often.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the Last Great American Dynasty last time we recorded either. What I really like about it is that it tells a story super well in a 3-minute song. It's fun. It's relevant immediately to Taylor.
Yes.
Like that is one of those songs that's like, this is me telling my story.
Yes.
And maybe you know what? Let's back it up again to the Kaylor thing because it still kind of has me a little shocked. Folklore is supposed to be like, is it all true? Is it all fake? Like, what part of folklore do we tell? So maybe this whole album is Taylor's folklore, and she wants people to have these conversations because, like, 50 years from now, when the hard cheese epiphany is ready to be eaten, people will have these discussions, and maybe they'll be more relevant about the folklore around Taylor Swift. Okay,
I fucking love that. Also, like, there's a lyric in 7 that's passed down like folk songs. Our love lasts so long. That really just like, just really reminds me of her talking about like a specific relationship that she wants to eulogize in folklore.
Yeah, more on eulogize when we talk about the lakes later on. But the last thoughts on Last Great American Dynasty is I agree with what you said. Like, it's one of those songs that I will go pick out and listen to it individually on its own without having to listen through the whole album to fully appreciate it. It's not like my favorite song, spoiler there, but I really do like it, and it's one of those, and I'm like, I could listen to There Goes the Last. Like, I could get down with that.
Yeah, it's just like fun and poppy. It's like a good driving song. Yeah. I want to just point out she's now sold that house that Rebecca Harkness lived in. And again, I think really alluding to the time that she lived in that house. She had her squad, the bitch pack. Like, she talks about how Rebecca burnt, everyone talked about her and she made a big fuss, and that's very much how I think Taylor views herself.
And she does, again, I mentioned this earlier, she references like the Mad Woman lyric in that song.
Iconic. Exile is the next song. I think I was also really salty about this in our first listen, but I do like it. And this is the first song on the album that we hear is written by William Bowery.
Allegedly.
Apparently he wrote the first
there is no way
Justin
Vernon. No, there's no way Justin Vernon is allowing some scrub who's done nothing to write his fucking verse.
It's just not happening.
Taylor said, I wrote this song. If you sing it, you can have the first verse to start the song, but I get to give Joe songwriting credits. Like, deal or no deal.
It's actually so ridiculous, and like it kind of makes me annoyed because you're right, Justin Vernon and Aaron and Jack outside of the Long Pond sessions have like literally never mentioned Joe. So
except for Jack Antonoff going like obnoxious.
So fucking obnoxious. I hate him so much. But yeah, apparently he knew the whole first verse and the entire melody, and then was singing it around the house, and that's how this song came about. And I just LOL.
So here, I love Exile. And I said the first time, I love the call and response aspect of, you didn't give a warning sign, I gave so many signs. Like I think that's really good. But my question for you is, and maybe I'm catching you off guard because we didn't do Evermore prep. Do you like Exile better, or do you like Coney Island better?
Exile. Are
Alright,
you a
I
Coney
think I like
Island
Coney
boy?
Island better. Yeah.
Interesting.
I like the lyrics of Coney Island. I that's not Bon Iver. I know it's somebody else.
It's the 1975
It's Aaron Dessner's
band. Yeah, I think it's the
person, right?
1975. Yeah.
I just really like that, and it doesn't fit on folklore. And I think Exile is a fantastic song. Like, this isn't a negative. It's more of a, like, can we celebrate Coney Island for fucking once?
Yeah, truly. Truly.
Breaking my soul in two here.
Yeah, Evermore, I think, is Taylor's almost maybe more personal album, and that's why maybe she doesn't really, like, celebrate it as much. But I'm still a folklore girl if I had to choose between the two.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to reassess my stance on that. I've gone both ways. I think I've said on this podcast that I liked Evermore more. I'm not sure. I really do like folklore. My issue with folklore is I could really do without two of these songs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, interesting thoughts that I will share at a later date.
So the next song is My Tears Ricochet. Again, we didn't like this, like, lengthy title, but I think it does hold up.
It does.
And this was, again, very much about her relationship with Scott Borchetta and Scooter Braun, who owned and sold her music. And so much more has come out about that in the last 2 years.
The song is so good at storytelling that.
It's so good. It's so good.
It has one of my favorite lines on the album, or lyrics from the album is on this song.
What?
I won't say it's my favorite yet,
Yeah.
because maybe it will be later, but I'll give it as a contender right now. I think this is the song that has, like, now I'm like, am I second guessing myself? This is the song that has, we pick up stones, never
Yeah.
knowing what they'll mean, some to throw, some to make a diamond ring.
rings, yes.
I love that lyric.
Yes. That is from this. And I think that that's so true because I think, again, that just talks about her career as, like, you do collect stones, like criticisms or whatever, never knowing what they'll mean, some to throw to, like, defend yourself, and, like, some to make riches. I don't know. It's just...
It's a good lyric for life too, not necessarily in, like, the stones meaning, but, like, a lot of time, like, you go through life and maybe you replace stones with meeting people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you meet people and
or
it's a
experiences.
really awesome relationship that continues for a long time, or maybe that relationship sets you up to have a connection somewhere else to set you up in a different aspect of your life, and maybe sometimes it just fades away and doesn't really mean anything. And I just love the kind of symbolism is, like, we collect these things as we go throughout our path. In her case, it's stones, and sometimes it's used to create beauty, like a diamond ring, and sometimes it's like, no, I'm going to launch this back at you because you treated me like a piece of dirt.
Yeah, and, like, the throwing stones in glass houses kind of reference is just, it's really good. And I think it also shows a lot of insight into how Taylor felt. Like, there is the line, I didn't have it in myself to go with grace, and you're the hero flying around saving face. And I think that is really interesting that she reflected on, like, again, maybe because she, like, refused to meet with Scooter and stuff and, like, all of this stuff. And, like, it's just interesting to see some of those insights from her.
And I just love the fact that she was able to rhyme ricochet. Like,
I know. Ugh, it's so brilliant. There's other things that also kind of reference the relationship, crossing out the good years. And when you can't sleep at night, you hear my stolen lullabies, like her stolen music.
Yeah, I love that. I don't necessarily love that lyric, but I love how that sounds in the song.
Like it's
because it almost fades away.
Yeah, it's so nice. You wear the same jewels that I gave you as you bury me. So again, like, just talking about how she is kind of the reason that these men are successful. And then I really like the lyric, and I can go anywhere I want, just not home.
And I can go anywhere. Yeah, that's great too.
It's so good. And I think, people, again, can relate to that in jobs, in relationships, with
family
cutting
life
off
too,
family,
right?
like,
Yeah.
everything. It's just so good.
You separate yourself to get such freedom, but then sometimes the place that you want to go to, you can't.
Totally.
It's great. Up after that is Mirrorball.
Yeah. You liked this song and you liked it on her analysis of it in the Long Pond session, singular.
Yeah. Singular. That needs to be stressed. Like, I bring it up every time we talk about Taylor Swift on this podcast. You cannot pluralize something that is singular when you literally have a sister album that you wrote in the same time period.
I know, that we're just waiting for.
Yeah, no, what I really like about Mirrorball is how it sounds stylistically. Yeah. Like, I'm a mirror. Like, I feel like this has become, like, a singing podcast.
I know, I was just going to say, did anyone know that Nick's favorite pastime is karaoke?
Oh, my God. Can I tell? Side tangent again,
course.
Strap in. We had a huge karaoke night planned for tomorrow night. Like, when I say, like, we had, like, 15 people planning to go to this, like, towny little karaoke bar in Maine for tomorrow night.
That you're taking me to in 2.5 weeks?
Yes, it was going to be hype, and the fucking karaoke guy canceled. So they're not doing it this week.
I hate
And I was like, well,
him.
how am I going to go to... And the last time I went to karaoke night, they didn't call me up on stage because I put my name in too late.
How
Like,
dare they?
you just don't want talent. I've watched this woman sing Proud Mary 8 weeks in a row to the same chorus. And sure, it's good. But you know what else is good? Like, cookies. If I eat eight cookies in a row, it's not good. Like, get me up there and let me sing literally. I get up there and sing Proud Mary. I know the Just Dance 2 dance. I know how to go, and we're rolling. Like, I could do that performance. Vocally, would it be as good? Debatable.
You're like, I'm not going to say no.
But my abilities, what I bring to the stage, I have that X factor.
I can't wait to see
it. But yeah, no, I like Mirrorball. I don't think it's anything like super special, but I love where it's placed in the album because it does sound stylistically different from everything we've heard up until that point. And I do think, 7 comes next, and 7.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Mirrorball is interesting also because I think it also harkens back to Rebecca, harkens back to her.
Not the pun. Not the pun.
I've been listening to too much Rob as a podcast. It just elicits affairs.
Illicit affairs.
It elicits like just thoughts about being a performer, and I think that's just interesting because
especially in a time where you can't really perform.
Exactly.
And she's trying to say, like, I'm doing like everything I can to entertain you.
Yes.
I'm releasing 2 albums in the span of 6 months.
Yes, and like it also makes me think about Scott and Scooter because I feel like Taylor Swift was very like in her teen years, look at me, doing anything to get people to notice her, and then that's just taxing. The next song is 7.
We can skip past that, I think, at this point.
Okay, I want to say 2 things. Hit My Peak at 7 Feet. This is her 8th studio album. So people are just saying.
Ellipses.
So fill in the fucking blank, okay?
But I would disagree with her. Lover is not her peak.
Okay.
Even at the time that she put this out and wrote that lyric, Lover was not her peak.
Okay, true that. Okay. And then another thing that I spoke about earlier is passed down like folk songs, Our Love Lasts So Long. Reminds me of Gold Rush. The lyric in Gold Rush that is, again, supposedly about Karlie Kloss says, my mind turns your life into folklore. I can't dare to dream about you anymore. Which really sounds like a person who maybe wanted to step out into the spotlight with this relationship and that didn't happen. And
then you think of the what ifs.
Yes, and one person moved on and got married and had a baby, and then the other person is sitting with her hair pinned up in a corner that she haunts.
Of a restaurant?
Yes. Yes.
Right where you left me.
Exactly.
That was so offbeat.
People will be like, what song is that? Like, oh, I've never heard that one.
Yeah, also, side note, I hate to admit this because I don't like Jack Antonoff. I love Gold Rush. Gold Rush is so good.
So fucking good.
It's so fucking obnoxious.
I
That it's
know.
good.
I
I'm
hate
so
him
mad.
so much, and Gold Rush is such a good song. He's so annoying. Speaking of
jacking it off, the next song.
Doesn't he like love playing August? Like,
Yeah, I mean, we saw that long pong session to an obnoxious amount.
Yeah, I want to make a TikTok of me just with my leg up on a bench and just like on a guitar. Just, like,
Torry, you're like 16 months too late to that viral fame. Like, wake up, San Francisco.
This is story of my life. I'm like, I should make a TikTok about this. They're like, that's a trend from 2006. Like,
Torry's like, have you guys heard of Tiger King? Actually, no, more realistically, Torry's like, have you all heard of folklore?
like,
Listen to my podcast on folklore.
literally, people are like, we heard that 2 years ago. She's just reusing her content. Yeah, I am, okay?
She hits 100 episodes. Hit my peak at 100 episodes.
Hit my peak at 100 feet. Oh my god. Okay, August. I don't want to talk about the fucking triangle relationship anymore. I feel like that's all we talk about.
August slaps.
August slaps.
Yep.
It's sipped away like a bottle of wine.
Yeah, the salt air
And
and the rust on your door. I never wanted anything more. The issue is right now I have this microphone and I'm like,
I know,
let me grab it.
Again, everybody, Nick likes karaoke. Okay.
Yeah, no, I really do like August, but we don't have to talk about it much further.
It's a bop. It's just like, for me, Last Great American Dynasty. I will seek it out to play it because it's a good summer song.
We didn't talk about This Is Me Trying really at all last time.
I know.
This Is Me Trying still holds up. I feel like every time I listen to it, I like it more.
I know, and like I don't want to because, again, it's sad, but it is so good.
I don't think I brought this up the last time we were on the pod, but I remember the day that Folklore dropped and she put it on Instagram and she was like, here's the cover and here's the freaking songs on it. And then we had to wait like 16 hours to listen to any of the songs. And we put it in our like friend group chat. And I remember saying, like, people were like, what song's going to be the best? Essentially was like the conversation. And I saw the title, This Is Me Trying, and said, that one is going to gut some people's hearts out.
And it gutted mine.
And it did.
Like, literally stuff like, I had the shiniest wheels, now they're rusting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, lay me out to die. Like, literally, lay me out to try. No, lay me out to die.
Drop it. These people are going to leave.
They've already left. You're right. It's gutting. That's all I can really say that. Like, they told me all my cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential.
Like, all my potential. That lyric is so good. That's another contender for me.
And then another reference to Mad Woman and my words shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lot of regrets about that.
Regrets about that. I was so ahead of the curve.
That the curve became a sphere.
Became a spear.
It's so
Fell
good.
behind all my classmates and I ended up here.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get checked? Is this like YouTube? Like when you have singing or
When I
too much
first started
lyrics?
the podcast, I remember my sister and I, we sung, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? And we're like, oh my God, copyright. Like,
Copyright infringement.
yeah, we're like, this podcast is canceled. No, because they can't discern that is Firework by Katy Perry. Like,
Well, the way that I'm singing, they're not discerning anything.
Yeah, totally. Anything else but This Is Me Trying?
Nope. Just want to give it its little moment in the sun.
Okay. I'm going to another Kaylor rabbit hole. Illicit affairs. Here are some lyrics. Tell me that this isn't a secret lover finding your New York
Oh,
apartment.
no, but that's literally what this song is about. Like, that is so unfair.
Okay. Well, close your eyes and just imagine. Hood over your head. Keep your eyes down. Tell your friends you're out for a run. You'll be flushed when you return because you're... I was going to say fucking.
Because you're sweating. Oh, yeah, well, you're sweating.
Because you're nervous.
Did you ever watch Friday Night Lights? I can't tell if that's like a show for you or not, but Tim Riggin seems like your type.
Okay, so I watched the first episode, and spoiler alert, even though it's like, do you have to say that when the show's like over 10 years old?
No.
Okay, but I was like, oh, a fun like teen dramedy or like drama romance or whatever. And then it was like, the guy gets paralyzed, and I was like, I'm fucking out. Like, the first like 3 minutes is like this young star becomes paralyzed, and I'm like, I can't.
The first 3 minutes, that's like the end of the episode.
Okay, whatever.
You didn't get riled up by Kyle Chandler's monologue?
No, I didn't make an episode 2.
All right, that tracks.
Yeah. Okay.
Torry was like, okay, but now I need to go watch 8 episodes of Selling Sunset to feel better.
Yes, to get over this.
Somebody recently was telling me that I should watch Below Deck, and
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
get out of here.
No,
I was
stop.
like, get out
you
of
would
here.
love it. Blue Dick. That's my...
Blue Dick? Blue Dick.
My friends and I watch Blue Dick.
Je refuse.
There's a lot of like people with accents, so they're like, "Did you just say blue dick?" And I'm like, "No, below deck, but Australian."
All right, rolling it back.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is this song makes me think of spoiler alert for you.
Yeah.
Of Friday Night Lights, where like one of the main characters is cheating on the paralyzed boyfriend.
Minka Kelly.
Yes, Minka Kelly, Lila Garrity, is cheating on Jason Street, who's paralyzed. He's the guy that you saw in the first aforementioned. And she is running to his best friend's house, Tim Riggins, to have sex. Like, she's actively cheating on him. But she's like, I'm just going out for a run. And she runs to his house. So, like, that's how, like, one of the episodes starts. So when I first heard this song, and it was like, tell your friends you're going out for a run.
You're like,
you'll be flushed when you return. I'm like, that's what I always think of. And the last time I think we recorded, I had said, like, if she wasn't going to name this song Folklore and she was going to name it after one of the titles on this album, I said, I think Illicit Affairs would be the title.
oh, I love that.
Not sure if I still stand. Well, okay, actually, when I was about to record this podcast, before I learned about the Karlie Gloss stuff.
Karlie Kloss.
I said it and I was like, that doesn't sound right, but the Zoom box on my screen is blocking her name
On the article I sent you.
Karlie Kloss.
Yes, thank you.
Now I'm like, I think I stand by this again, because if it is really about that relationship, I stand by Illicit Affairs. Okay, continue.
Yes. Okay, also I looked up Tim Higgins. Yeah, you're right. Probably my type. The first surge was actually...
Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, Chase Edwards vibes.
Edwards.
For sure. Chase Edwards vibes. Call back to the episode we did. But Tim Higgins is also an old Canadian hockey player, so when I just...
It's Tim Riggins. Okay. Not this Tim Hortons nonsense.
Because I put in Tim Higgins, I was like, this old man? and then it was like Tim Riggins, Friday Night Lights, and I was like, okay. Anyways, Illicit Affairs, hood over your head, keep your eyes down. Obviously reminds me of Call It What You Want, walking with his head down. I'm the one he's walking to. Just disregard the pronouns that are used in that statement. Tell your friends you're out for a run. You'll be flushed when you return.
We don't run here.
No. Take the road less traveled by. Okay, so a lot of people online are like Robert Frost, two paths diverged in the forest or whatever. But I was thinking that it's very much just take a road that you won't be seen by like paparazzis.
I think that tracks. I'll allow it.
Thank you. Sustained or whatever.
Sustained.
Clandestine meetings and longing stares. Again, I think this just like elicits a
affairs.
Yes, relationship between people that are in the same room together, but it's maybe not public. And then what started in beautiful rooms, like a Victoria's Secret backstage, ends with meetings in parking lots. So just some Karlie imagery.
Which also tracks back to, is it August, where she's the singer, the artist is saying like, meet you in the mall parking lot or something.
Love that. Thank you.
Illicit Affairs is a beautiful song. I'll allow it in its canonness to, the Kaylor conspiracy theory.
Thank you.
But it's definitely an underappreciated song on the album.
Yes.
It definitely isn't like radio worthy or anything, but it is beautiful. It paints a very clear picture of what's happening, and I think that anybody listening to it can see it the way they probably can't like visualize other nonsense like Epiphany.
Yes. Then we get to Mad Woman. Again, very much like Taylor in her music industry.
She is a mad on this song.
Yes.
It's awesome. Like you can feel like the mad.
Yes. So the things that I wanted to point out.
Your face in the neighbor's lawn.
So like that, I guess, like that's very clear. What do you sing when you drive on your drive home? Do you see my face in the neighbor's lawn? Very much talking about Scooter and Scott. Even their music companies are neighbors, the one that she left and then went to. The other lyric is women like hunting witches too, doing your dirtiest work for you. It's obvious that wanting me dead has really brought you two together. This, I think, can be interpreted as we talked about on our first recording about Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, because I definitely think that that brought them together. But did you know, I'm going to blow your fucking mind, Scooter Braun is Karlie Kloss's manager. Yes. And allegedly, they might have split up because Karlie was either knowingly or unknowingly sharing information about Taylor's work and the valuation of her masters to Scooter Braun, who could have leveraged that information to purchase her music.
Okay, that seems like a little bit of a stretch.
Nicholas.
I don't know enough about the topic.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit like a stretch, but the connection between those two people make Karlie Kloss a, riveting character in the novel. We missed her on the first go-round.
Absolutely.
I will also say women like hunting witches too, doing their dirtiest work for you. Lyrically, not my favorite lyric, but it's in contention for the way that she says that lyric. Like, the way it kind of, like, flows. It's like, women like... And I'm not going to sing it because I'm done with that. Well, for the next 8 seconds.
Yeah.
The way that goes, like, up
Yes.
and down, like, it feels like a little roller coaster through that lyric, and I just really love it for that.
Me too. And it also shows a little bit of reflection, like Taylor Swift when she had that famous quote about there's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women, when Tina Fey and Amy Poehler made a joke about her dating history. It shows...
Oh, an SNL thing?
I think it was like a award monologue.
Oh, okay.
Award show monologue, but it really shows you maybe she has done some reflection on, I don't know, women and womanhood. Epiphany.
We're not talking about that. Let's just move right along.
Betty.
My take on Betty is that country radio did not do it the service it needed to. Betty is like a perfect country radio track, and that should have been released to country radio the same way that Cardigan went to pop radio, because Betty is awesome. The like harmonica in it, like it's still one of my favorite songs, in the way that it ends essentially with like in your cardigan.
Yeah. It's
like, I love it.
The callbacks to August and Cardigan are just, it's so wild. It's so smart. The cobblestones, James's car, the cardigan, the porch.
I love the bridge in it too, where it's like, I just realized this will be the last time that, I forget what the lyric is, but like, I just realized this will be the last time that I can like think of you, essentially, like before we have that conversation.
Devastating. Yes, it's.
The Swifties are coming for us. We don't know the lyrics. We prepared today. Betty, right now is the last time I can dream about what happens when you see my face again.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I showed up to your party. Yeah, I showed up to your party. This is editing room floor material right here.
Truly. Okay, so Betty is a bop. Peace. We talked about Peace a lot. Is there anything else that you want to say about Peace?
No, Betty is a bop. Peace. And now, everybody, let me set the scene.
For hoax.
Turn your lights out. Go grab the nearest processed cheese you can find. And let's get to work.
Let's fucking do it. Hoaxes. I'm not going to lie. I have texted Nick. I've said, I just went on a folklore walk. and I didn't skip Hoax. Like, and you know it's fucking down bad when you listen to My Only One, my smoking gun. Like, it's
my eclipsed
sun.
sun.
This has broken me down. Okay, like, it's literally,
Yeah.
like, it's fucking Devo.
Our mutual friend Melody, Hoax was her number 1 played song off Folklore in 2020.
Please,
She
Mel.
listened to it like 114 times.
Let's get you on some Cipralex, girl. Like, fuck. I know some counselors in your area. Like, oh my.
Is that the new I know hot singles in your area?
I know some therapists in your area. Holy shit. Okay, I'll DM her after this. It's just really good. Again, there's like some callbacks to other songs, like Stood on the Cliffside Screaming, which comes up in The Lakes.
Give me a reason. No, I fucking love Hoax. Okay, like, do I love it to the extent where I'm blasting it? Absolutely not. Like, nobody should be at that level. It literally, like, is a knife twist. But, like, stylistically, the way that, like, all of her, like, first verses essentially have the same amount of, like, syllables is fantastic. It makes it so digestible to just get sucked into that song.
Truly.
Before it drops into kind of that next depressing level. Yeah, I love Hoax. I don't know how I feel about it being, like, the album closer. I think it really does fit, but when we're talking about The Lakes in a minute, I'm like, why did we leave The Lakes out the first time, Taylor? Like, what was going on there? Like, I think she wrote the one in Hoax last to be the bookends.
Yeah.
We talked about that last time, but it's like, The Lakes was right
I
there.
know.
Like, right there.
I know. It should not be a bonus track. It should just be the 17th
And
track.
not even that The Lakes needs to be, like, the end of the album, but, like, I don't understand why it was
cut,
left off and why she felt she needed to go write Hoax when she had The Lakes.
Totally. Totally.
But yeah, no, I love Hoax, but not to, like, you know, a scary amount. Our best take is us not saying that Hoax was our least favorite song on the first go-around, because the online Twitter community, when this album dropped, was really pushing for Hoax being the worst song.
Yeah.
And Torry and I fought back against that. It was probably each of our, like, you know, somewhere between, like, 13 and 15, but it was not last.
No, it was not last. It was just second last. like,
which shows that we were not swayed by the groupthink.
Yes, we have our own unique thoughts as I regurgitate Kaylor conspiracy theories. I want to...
And speaking of which, I see a lyric.
Yes! But speaking of which, let me read you the bridge to this song, and you can tell me if you think this sounds like a breakup between two people where one of them betrayed the other. You know I left a part of me back in New York.
Bing.
You knew the hero died, so what's the movie for? You knew it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart. Rep era. Think about that. You knew the password, so I let you in the door. You knew you won, so what's the point of keeping score? You knew it.
Love that lyric.
I love that lyric. You knew it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart. But what you did was just as dark. Darling, this was just as hard as when they pulled me apart.
They pulled
Me apart.
I love that, yeah. I still think it hits kind of like the like Frankenstein-y feel of like tearing something apart and putting it back together, which might not have any relevance to the Karlie Kloss stuff, but I think it's interesting the phrasing of the word like darling. I don't know, I just think of that more of as like a feminine word.
Same, like I feel like that again, it's femme energy, which would be Karlie, but also Darlene is very British, which is also Joe. So I could see how toe stands.
Oh, toe?
I was waiting for that reaction.
That's gross.
I know, but that's what it is. Toe
gross.
stands. Okay, because also they out...
What about Jailer?
Jailer's cute. Jailer's cute.
Nobody stands Taylor and Joe.
Nobody. There's no toe fans listening to this podcast.
I hope not.
No.
But if you are, hit me up. I will sell toe pits.
They turned this off as soon as I said Kaylor. Anyways, I I will say for the toe heads,
The toenails.
the toenails, the outro, my only one, my kingdom come undone, like again, very like rep era Taylor. My broken drum, you have beaten my heart. I will say, don't want no other shade of blue but you, no other sadness in the world will do. Doesn't she reference, this is just off the cuff, but doesn't she reference a man like Joe, I'm assuming, as like blue in Lover?
She definitely references colors.
Yeah.
I know she says blue and red.
Maybe it's
Everything was blue like I've ever known.
loving him
But
was
okay,
blue
but
like
let's
I've
track
ever
back.
known. No, yeah.
But let's track that back, because if it was 2012, that's around the time she met Karlie Kloss.
Yes.
No, Karlie Kloss might be blue all the time.
Sold. Okay, what about in Cruel Summer?
Oh
And it's
yeah,
new,
it is Cruel Summer. Shape of your body, it's blue.
The feeling I've got.
It's new. Ah.
Okay. So we'll see.
Justice for Cruel Summer.
Oh, such a good song.
Where we need that re-release before Loverfest.
But
Why All Too Well got its day? Can we please give Cruel Summer its fucking day?
truly.
Kaylor, what do you have on the radio right now? Nothing.
Nada.
So let's just re-release Cruel Summer. It's a summer now. People are partying again.
Yes, re-release it.
Give it to us.
Give us the goods. Okay.
Give me what I want.
The Lakes wasn't a part of our combo the first time because it hadn't been released yet.
It was not known.
It is. Okay, spoiler alert, I'm finally saying it. If we had to pick off album proper, The One is my number one. But actually, if we include the bonus track, it's
The deluxe album.
The deluxe album, it's actually The Lakes.
The Lakes is awesome.
It's so fucking good.
Lyrically, like, I just love all the things she does lyrically. It's like, honestly, it's kind of like a crowning. It's like a, hey, I'm gonna remind you that I'm a kick-ass songwriter. I love all my elegies eulogize me. I love a red rose grew up through ice frozen ground, but no one was around to tweet it. Like, direct dig at Kanye West. I love how every verse in the song connects to the song as a whole to grow it. I feel like I can place myself in like that like very alone region of England.
Yes,
like the
the
Lakes.
Windermere.
Like, it is
yeah.
a very Windermere.
Windermere.
I played, this is a side tangent, I played Bridgerton Monopoly last night. I've never watched Bridgerton, but I was like, ooh,
Lady Whistle Down.
Lady Whistle Down in the town.
In the
and it was like
ton,
all
in
the
the
different,
ton.
the ton, no, the ton.
In the ton.
And all the little spots. I was like, ooh, I'm so English.
Oh my god, okay, well I can't wait to play that.
But yeah, no, the Windermere region, like, and also it is in line with all of the kind of like big picture stuff with folklore of it being like, you know, quarantine time, because the Lakes feels very much like I'm here alone in this space.
Yep. Yes, I'm on the cliffside screaming, give me a reason vibes.
And then the like, tell me what are my words worth, which is like a call to like both like her, what are my words, meaning my lyrics worth, or what is my like voice worth. It's a call to the poet Wordsworth. Like,
Yes.
it's awesome.
Yes, and then her music being sold for a set number and people dictating that and not her. It's so
And I love the
good.
sound. I feel like we
Yeah.
can't really capture the sound, but like the backtrack is
mean
awesome.
you and-
It's very floaty.
You and I can't capture the sound on this podcast. That's it's like yeah.
I can't do it. No,
I can't either. That's not even close. Let's briefly, okay, that's our lyric analysis. Let's briefly talk about William Bowery, Another English Lad, and GrammyGate.
I would like to hear about your perspective of Grammy.
So GrammyGate is very interesting. So again, let me set the scene. The identity of William Bowery, which is a pseudonym used on folklore, is revealed to be Joe Alwyn in the Long Pond sessions. Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dessner look fucking weird and like shocked that Taylor is revealing this, meaning I think they think it was fake. Bon Iver has never mentioned Joe Alwyn, even though they co-wrote Exile together. Doesn't make sense. In interviews, because he's gained a little bit of popularity with his Sally Rooney TV show.
Boo.
Yeah, flop era. He says that his great-grandfather, who was a composer, was named William. And then...
Isn't that unique?
I know. I was like, doesn't everyone have a grandpa named William?
I mean, I don't have a grandfather, but I have like a great uncle.
Yeah.
So like, you have a William in your family.
100%. And then Bowery is definitely referenced a lot in New York because it's like a event venue.
Is that where she met Karlie Kloss?
You're doing it on purpose now.
Kloss?
I don't think it's where she met her, but I think they hung
Kloss.
out there a lot. Maybe that's where they made those pictures of them making out came from. Anyways, flash forward a year, Folklore wins Grammy of the Year, which Nick predicted on the podcast.
Oh, wow. Go me.
Yeah, I will give you props for that. And again, at this point, we know that Joe Alwyn wrote Betty and Exile. 1 month after they won the Grammy, he was then credited for producing 6 songs because to be awarded with a Grammy, a songwriter has to have minimum two songwriting credits, and they have to contributed to the production of, I think it's 1/3 or 2/3 of the album to get the Grammy. Joe has exactly like 33%.
You're allowed to, like, in a retrospect, credit somebody with something.
Yes, so it's
okay. Here's
it's
what I
very
learned.
sus.
Taylor is a writer. Like she did a lot of work to do the bare minimum of work to get him a damn Grammy. He's going for the EGOT.
100%. So why didn't you just list him from the get-go, Taylor? You are all about, like, you fucking wrote that letter to Apple Podcasts about, you know, artists getting their dues. So I just doubt that you would leave Joe off of the production of 6 songs. Like, that seems ridiculous. And so basically a lot of people are saying that, I don't think that they have a contractual, like, PR relationship, but people are saying that possibly if they were to have a contractual relationship, one of the obligations that she has is to help him with his career, i.e. getting him the G in EGOT. I know that sounds very, I've lost you a little bit there, but I do want to reference some Calvin Harris tweets from back in the day, and I'll put them in the episode show notes.
My favorite Calvin Harris song is Summer.
Oh, love that.
When I met you in the summer.
Oh, let's add that to our playlist, our main playlist.
Right after Mason Ramsey.
Perfect. So Calvin Harris tweeted and then deleted. I don't want to mince words, but the gist was like, they told me I had to grow a beard to win a Grammy, and I did that, and then I didn't. So again, people were kind of, and then he deleted those tweets. So people are alluding that Calvin was bearding for Taylor. I've so lost you. Do you know what a beard is?
I get what you're going for. Yes, I understand what you're going
okay.
for.
And that they also could have possibly had that in their relationship contract.
If I'm the judge on this, I think I'm out on this theory.
No, I'm so in on it. Why do you think why would she add him after? Other than to get
She's
him
in love?
Ew, that's like, okay, fucking simp. God, I could never ride
Love
that
makes
hard.
people stupid.
Okay, I could never ride that hard for a mon. Like, I just, like, okay, girl, like, go off. Like, that's so disappointing if she just did this all for...
Well, maybe he actually did, and she just was like, "Oh, I'm busy. I forgot to credit."
No, that's not the case. Taylor doesn't fucking
I have no
forget
fucking
to
clue.
do anything.
Maybe okay. maybe Taylor did it after to get more people talking about her. We've reached a stalemate.
Yeah. Okay, weigh in. I was gonna say weigh in the comments. Let us know. I'm sure this episode is gonna be controversial. Let us know. Do you think Taylor gave Joe the writing credit so he can go for an EGOT because they're in love?
He can't achieve one.
No.
I'm sorry. Like, Taylor would have to drag his body. Like, he got an Oscar if he gets writing credits for Carolina. Like, is this her grand plan?
Fucking probably. Jesus Christ.
Okay, so and then she'll sing a song in a TV show and get an Emmy.
Yeah.
And then the Tony's gonna be up to him.
Okay, well, let us
Get
know.
him in Funny Girl.
Yeah.
I hear there's openings.
Okay, as of today, July 12th, 2022, what is your favorite song? Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
It's still the one.
Oh, no, that's so anticlimactic. Okay, that holds up. What is your least favorite song?
Epiphany. Even more than it was on whatever day in July in 2020.
What is your favorite cheese to eat while listening to this album?
I have thought about this a lot. It is not feta.
I was like, okay, have you never eaten cheese before?
It is not processed.
Yeah.
Honestly, like you brought this up last time, like Manchego kind of hits, but I don't think that's my favorite cheese to eat while this album.
It's brie.
It's not
Oh,
brie.
okay.
Brie's too messy. Remember, I need to be like out in the woods.
Oh, yeah. Or like I'm like rolling around on the ground.
So I think like cubed sharp cheddar, if it's like the like lower quality cheese. I still stand by my assessment of like blueberry goat cheese.
Okay.
If I'm like a fancy guy with nice crackers.
Okay, love that.
If I'm just eating the cheese, it's the cubed sharp cheddar. If I'm putting the cheese on a cracker, it's the blueberry goat cheese.
Yeah, if I'm eating just like just cheese, I'm actually gonna go with like a cheese puff, like a cheesy, to be honest. But if I'm eating like actual cheese, I think it's just like a Havarti.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like a extra toasty Cheez-It.
Oh God, yes. Canada just got Cheez-Its like in the last year or two, and it changed my life. You asked me earlier when we were texting, are you still in the Facebook group Foods with Threatening Auras? And no, I'm not. Thank God.
You left.
I left.
What was it? Why did you leave?
There was it was recent. There was a recent incident where a truck that was like containing hot dog meat like crashed, and it ruined like my entire life. Don't Google that.
Do you like when hot dogs snap in your mouth?
No. No.
So you don't like a good snap?
No. Even though I'm thinking about something completely different. I really, truly don't.
Don't you know that that's what you know makes a good casing? If it's
Okay, like, yeah, when you get, like, the cheddar ones.
ew. Cheddar stuffed hot dogs.
No,
And you were threatened by the hot dog meat truck.
I'm
I'd be threatened by the cheesy hot dog.
fucking dead.
What is it? Is this one of those like fucked up like food videos on Facebook that's like 5-second crafts and it's like some nonsensical
No,
recipe?
I don't know if it's, like, super...
Have you seen?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Have you seen the video where they have like the meat log that they like go like they push down to get it on a stick?
Like, stop.
Then cut
You're
it to get like meat sticks.
Oh my God, like, again, this is threatening to me personally. Yeah, I don't like, but I feel like a very big staple of my childhood was like hot smokies with cheddar cheese in them. And then you're right, because then you barbecue them, and then when you're eating them, it snaps. but then also shoots a hot cheese into
Gonna blast. Have you ever had a red hot dog?
No.
All right, that's a main staple.
Okay,
a main
take
staple
me.
is a red hot
Okay.
dog.
Okay. Well, I need to get this.
You don't. No, I don't take you. You buy it at the supermarket.
Oh, it's not like a
Well, I mean, you
stand
could, like-
or something.
Who the fuck would make money off a hot dog stand if you're not at a baseball game? How often do you walk around your life saying, I could really go for a hot dog today?
Way more than you think. B, how dare you to all the New York City vendors that are selling just a dog on the street.
Well, I left a part of me back in New York.
Oh my God. Let's wrap up briefly with some post-folklore Taylor. We talked a lot about Evermore. She also did a collab with Big Red Machine with Renegade.
Did you like that song?
It's one of my top 10 Taylor Swift songs of all time.
Yeah, I love that
It's
song.
so fucking good. I listen to it all the time. Recently came out with Carolina, and then she, of course, did the Red re-release that we talked about. Carolina, there is some fucking piping hot tea around that.
All right, before we jump into the piping hot tea, I just want the viewers to... So Carolina is off of the upcoming movie Where the Crawdads Sing, which is based off the book Where the Crawdads Sing, that Torry thinks is going to be a future classic. She thinks that the kids will be reading it in school.
I'm so dumb. Okay, that was before Okay. That was before all of the controversy came out, which happened this week. I said that like 2 weeks ago.
Wait, there's more controversy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I just know the controversy of, like, the author might be a murderer.
Yes, okay. That's the controversy.
Oh, so you're just behind the times.
Yes, okay. I stand behind my take because it was very popular in, like 2017 to, 19. I remember.
I think I read it in 2020.
Yeah. Okay, so it was popular in the last couple years, Nick. Okay, Tyler Cameron.
Oh my god, I haven't heard that name in ages.
Love of my life. Tyler Cameron.
What is he doing now?
Influencing. Okay, so when he went on The Bachelorette, people always ask, because you usually get one book. They're like, what book are you reading right now? And he said, When the Crawdads Sing. And
where?
all of the girlies were like, oh my God, he's so intellectual.
Were you one of the girlies?
Yes. I was like, he's so fucking smart. Flash forward, like I said before, fast forward to today, where it's like, okay, these were like white savior people doing anti-poaching work in Africa. Also, the woman might be a murderer, but it's still being made into a movie made by Reese Witherspoon with the lead single by Taylor Swift, which is very
Carolina.
It's very Taylor Swift to do this. I don't know.
Collab with
Reese Witherspoon on like a probably really problematic white couple, and then just like glaze over those aspects.
The song is haunting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as somebody who's read the book, though, like the song, like Taylor Swift read the material. Like, was it Lorde who wrote a song for the Hunger Games? Who like didn't even watch or read the Hunger Games?
Yeah, she was like, "What was this for?" Also, now that you brought up Lorde, we have to talk about it. Okay, just little FYI. I wanted to talk about Lorde and Jack Antonoff, but I'll save it for another episode. But like, I was like, literally, if you give me a crumb, of any Jack Antonoff and Lorde content, I will just launch into like a 4-page essay on why they were hooking up and cheating together on Lena Dunham. I've gone down such a pop culture rabbit hole in the last 2 years. Holy shit.
Where would you put Safe and Sound on your Taylor Swift songs? Speaking of the Hunger Games. You don't like Safe and
I've
Sound?
literally, Safe and Sound in Carolina, I've listened to like once in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Safe and Sound is way better than Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina does hit like what the book needs, but Safe and Sound is that's a top one here.
I don't know. I just thought about that little kid dying and stuff. I was over the dystopian. I was already living a dystopian life. I didn't need to remember the Hunger Games.
You were living a dystopian life in 2012? You haven't read the Hunger Games?
Yes, I have. I was
Okay.
Team Gale.
Oh. Speaking of people who like problematic people, were you Team Gale or Team Liam Hemsworth?
I did read the books. I think I was still Team Gale. I didn't like PETA. He was dumb.
Yeah, but they both kind of suck. She didn't need a man.
No, she truly didn't.
Did you like who the girl in Crawdads ended up with? Because I think I stand by the same that the girl in Crawdads didn't need anybody.
Okay, just wait. Also, everything's interconnected.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. The lead in Crawdads movie is the lead in Normal People.
Oh my god.
Sally
Is it?
Rooney,
I don't
ref.
know. I don't know if this is like stated enough on the podcast. I hated Normal People, the book. I hated Normal People, the TV show. And then I had people who hadn't read the book try to tell me that the TV show was good
That
because
was
there was
me.
penis on the screen.
Okay, just fucking at me. I'm literally right here. Yeah, you're right, okay? You're fucking right. Like, I'm a Connell girl.
Team Connell.
Team, like, gold chain or whatever, like, silver chain he wore. I loved when it was like that TV show came out and then, like, the thirsty girls made a Connell's necklace Twitter account. Like,
Did you have a Tumblr back in the day, Torry?
no, but I'm very Tumblr. I had a Nexopia, which was a big, so it's kind of, I felt like it was a mix of Tumblr and MySpace, but it was actually a Canadian website. So I basically had like a Tumblr, but on this account called Nexopia.
First listener who finds Tori's Nextopia page wins a keychain.
My username was Torry asterisk. So if you can find it, I would actually love to see it.
So that's TORRYASTRIC. I think the spelling bee gods would have dinged me on my spelling for asterisks there.
Yeah. Oh my god, yes. Yes, I am very much, I feel like a Tumblr girl. And honestly, that's where the Kaylor origins originated. So shout out to the Tumblr girlies.
Let's wrap up with this.
Yes.
What Tumblr lyric would have you made like one of those like Tumblr
my like
picture
heading or
posts
whatever?
for? So yeah, sorry, what folklore lyric would you have made your Tumblr heading?
That's such a good question.
In other words, what's your favorite lyric?
And that's a good place to wrap up on.
She's like, sweet tea in the summer.
I think like, okay, so my Tumblr aesthetic would, definitely be from like something very dramatic and subtweety and
On brand.
yes. So it would probably be something like, okay, like this isn't my favorite lyric, but it was definitely, if it's from the one, it'd be like, and if you wanted me, you really should have showed. If you never bleed, you're never going to grow. And it's all right now.
That is very Tumblr girl. Really?
Literally. I really do like, in my defense, I have none for never leaving well enough alone. But
I
it would
love
have been
that one.
fun if you would have been the one.
Yeah, okay, so two of my like top ones are in there, and I'll pick a different one because you took it. And it would have been fun if you would have been the one, because I just think that's like a timeless lyric that anybody can relate to, from like young kids to like elderly. I do also love, in my defense, I have none, because I love when artists will like set you up for something and then be like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, it's very like what you would write in your journal.
Yeah, I've mentioned a lot of the other ones that I like. I have them like written down. I had a marvelous time ruining everything.
Yes.
I think that's just fun. That wouldn't be my favorite one though. From This Is Me Trying, I've never been a natural. Or no, Mirrorball, sorry. I've always been a natural. All I can do is try. And I think that you kind of took the one that I wanted, which is it would have been fun if you would have been. So I'm just going to take that. I'm reclaiming it for myself. Pick another one, Tumblr girl.
No. It's our favorite song, and our favorite lyrics come from it. It makes total sense.
Well, you know what? I could pick. We pick up stones, never knowing what they'll mean. Some to throw, some make a diamond ring.
Some to make a diamond ring.
Diamond ring.
Love it. Okay, this was super fun. I feel like we covered so much, and it was a nice to look back.
I've learned so much.
I know.
I've learned so much.
I'm so excited. If you were just as in the dark as Nick was, I will link all of my favorite Kaylor resources.
Source material.
Yeah, my Kaylor source material in the episode show notes, so you can do a deep dive and figure out for yourself what you believe.
Also, I want to hear if people like Evermore better than Folklore, because I'm a little on the fence on that.
Yeah, I'm a Folklore girly, but I'll put that in an Instagram quiz because I want to know too.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I'll put it in when we do a temp check for this episode. Okay, Nick, this was super fun. Where can the listeners find you and anything else you want to plug?
The listeners can find me off the beaten path because I'm on a tangent probably.
You're on the road less
Take the road
traveled
less traveled
by.
Just tell your friends are out for a run.
Yes.
No, they can find me in the same place. They can have found me for the last 8 episodes, which is Facebook, Twitter, MySpace,
Nexopia,
Instagram.
Tumblr.
I still haven't broken. I know that the listeners are dying to know. Haven't broken my Instagram silence.
Neither have I.
Tori and I are like in this pact together.
Yeah.
And I really I did it. I went on like a 2-week vacation to Western Canada and not one Instagram post.
I know.
I feel like that was like the test.
I know.
I do use the Instagram stories function
Me too.
sometimes, which I feel like I'm standing true to my core beliefs.
Yeah.
And then on Twitter at Nick_Drinkwater.
Yay, come for us.
That's the symbol.
Cancel us. like
This time of year, though, honestly, like, I don't even know how much worth it's following me there. This time of year, it's going to be, like, NFL training camp tweets.
everyone's like, no thanks.
And all the likes are going to be, like, Big Brother live feed updates. And, like, shit's getting ugly already. Like,
So
I would not
ugly.
come for the show.
Literally so ugly. But still, if people want to reach out to discuss any lyrics,
Yeah.
any hot takes we had.
Every so often, there'll be something in there that's fun.
Yes.
I hope.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I don't know if is this episode 9? I said that joking at the beginning, but I don't know if that's true or not for me. The 9th episode. This is our Evermore episode. So the 10th episode will be whatever Taylor released next to go on tour with.
Yes. Okay, I love that for us.
And when Torry comes and visits, we're going to have to at least get like a 5-minute clip of us drunk because we did not take advantage of that when it happened in Victoria.
We definitely need to film some content, not just for our Circle application, but for the listeners.
They'll love that. Behind the scenes, Instagram stories.
Yes, not Instagram proper.
All right, well, I hope the audio's better. If it's not, then it's all downhill.
Truly, if I haven't figured it out after 100 episodes, when will I ever figure it out? Okay, Nick, thank you so much for coming on. And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Nick for joining me on his 9th episode of the podcast. Can't wait for number 10. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can rate and review RTBP on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can subscribe. That really helps the podcast find new listeners, climb the charts so people notice us, which, allows me to get guests and sponsors, etc., to put back into the podcast. So I so appreciate when you all subscribe and rate and review. You can follow me on socials at RTBP Podcast. And if you have a topic that you are dying for me to talk about, message me and I'll add it into the rotation. I hope you are safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Torry, and I am ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.